as you can tell, I'm excited. Man, the transfer market. Last video I said I was annoyed with Arsenal. People were commenting interested FC on TikTok. That's what Arsenal were a few days ago. Today it changes, man. Fabio Vieira in the door. I'm gassed. Out of nowhere too. Today we're gonna be talking about Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus looks like he's coming in the door as well. Then we're gonna take a look at what else do we have here? Then we're gonna take a look at Spurs. Bissouma is coming through the door, and then Manchester City. I think we talked about it a couple episodes back. Cucurella looks like he's joining City as well. So Premier League show today, but it's gonna be a good one because the transfer market's heating up. Let's get into it. Starting off with Fabio Vieira. It's being reported that a deal has been agreed, 35 million euros plus a potential 5 million euros add-ons, which is 10 million. He had a 50 million release clause, but they negotiated down. So they're going to be getting him for lower than his release clause, which first off is good business. You always like to see that. Edu is doing his job. He's negotiating well. I'm gassed, man. Fabio Vieira, quality young player, 22 years old. An attacking midfielder who can honestly play out wide as an inverted winger as well, kind of inverted midfielder, that kind of player. You know, he's good in tight spaces, he's good in the half space, he likes to operate in little spaces, little pockets of space, turn on the ball. He's evasive as well. From what I've seen, you know, he has a great final product, you know, on free kicks, crossing the ball, in open play, and he can strike the ball with either foot as well. He's very much two-footed from what I've seen, which is always nice to have in a team, because for Arsenal, I said it in the last episode, what are they doing? They seem to always be going for left-footed players, but in this case, he can use either foot. It's such an interesting signing. It honestly came out of nowhere. What is Arsenal's strategy here? We'll talk about it in a sec, but I want to read you his stats real quick. Sorry for the change in camera. I'm literally editing it, and I realized that the first source I got it from was incorrect. His stats are even better. In 27 matches, he started 15, and he has 20 goal contributions. That's one goal contribution every 66 minutes. That's ridiculous. He led the league in assists and only started 15 matches. That's almost an assist every start. All right, back to the normal cam. At 22 years old, to do that in 15 starts, that tells you the quality of player he is. He comes on and he makes an impact. And I think we'll see him in a similar role at Arsenal. I'm not sure. When we look at Arsenal and we try and look at what they're doing with this signing specifically, it seems as though Arsenal are moving towards a more fluid system. And I'm not saying their system wasn't fluid before, but with Fabio Vieira coming in, it seems as though they're picking up players who can operate in multiple positions. For example, you have Odegaard, you have Bukayo Saka, now you have Vieira, you have Emil Smith-Rowe. You have all these players who, during a match, can potentially interchange. They can come out wide, they can go central, they can replace each other and come into different spaces, and the system can become very fluid. And it's something obviously Manchester City and Pep do so well, and we can say that Mikel Arteta probably took a little bit of inspiration from Manchester City and how they want to play and how he wants to play now. For me, it's such an exciting signing, and to know that Arsenal are willing to invest in those players as not only the main kind of signings of the window, but supplements, shows that Arsenal aren't messing around. And you look at the squad now of Arsenal, you know, you have a bunch of guys who are 22, 23 years old, and in 2-3 years time, they'll be 25, 26, and they'll have 2 to 3 years of Premier League experience under their belt. And they're already operating at a high level. To look forward and think that this team will grow together and just get even better and improve every single day is honestly a very exciting proposition. But the next player I want to discuss is Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal. That deal seems like it will get completed. It's being reported that Arsenal are in advanced negotiations over a £50 million deal. Somewhere around, I think Arsenal are trying to negotiate for, 40 to 50 million pounds. It looks like that deal probably will get across the line. It's being reported that Gabriel Jesus wants to join Arsenal. He wants to link up with Mikel Arteta again. The two have worked in the past together at Manchester City. And for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. He fits Arsenal's timeline. He's 25 years old. He'll be actually one of the more experienced players in that team. If you want to keep the ball on the ground, Gabriel Jesus he's such a good option. He's actually a great link-up player. He's among the best when it comes to pass completion. 84.4% passes completed. That's in the 99th percentile compared to other strikers in Europe's top 4 or 5 leagues. Think about that for a second. And it's not like he's not attempting many passes. He's also among the strikers that pass the ball the most. It's impressive, especially in the Premier League. And yeah, I guess you could say City, he might get on the ball a little bit more. They do move the ball around a little bit more. He might be in spaces that allow him the time to pick out a pass. But I think that just shows he's a good link player. What I also like about Gabriel Jesus is he has great movement, especially in the box. In the final third in general, but in the box as well. He seems to always pop up with a goal. He seems to always move into spaces at the right moments, at the right times, and find himself in pockets of space to get on the end of crosses. But if you want to become a top striker, you have to create chances for yourself. And Gabriel Jesus can do so. In the past year, he's been averaging 3.3 shot creating actions per 90 minutes. He's completed 67% of his take-ons on the dribble. Again, that's in the 99th percentile compared to other strikers. Now, I said this in the last episode as well, but his mentality is something I admire a lot. Because to come to England when you don't know the language at 20 years old and to make an instant impact, to really not take that much time to settle in, shows you have character, and it shows you have what it takes to persevere through challenges and become a top player. Gabriel Jesus, I think he even said at one point that the Premier League wasn't as difficult as he expected. To say that at 20 years old shows what kind of player and mentality and kind of person he is. He's not scared of anything. And those are the type of players Arsenal are trying to build around. I mean, Odegaard, Lokonga, Bukayo, Gabriel Jesus now coming in, Vieira, Kieran Tierney, Tomiyasu, Ramsdale, all these players they're bringing in have a top mentality and have a fucking backbone, something that Arsenal have lacked over the past year. Someone that's not gonna someone that's gonna get up for a fucking match. They want a challenge. They want to be yelled at by the fans. I think that's a massive quality that some people overlook in Gabriel Jesus. On the defensive end, he's gonna fit into Arsenal as well. He recovers the ball extremely well. 5.77 recoveries per 90 minutes. For a team like Manchester City to be averaging 5.77 recoveries per 90 minutes as a striker, he's recovering the ball almost 6 times per match in a system where majority of the time you have the ball. You can't really ask a player for more than that. For 40 million pounds, you're getting a very, very fair deal. And I have to give credit as well to Manchester City, because a lot of people see City as a club that only buy players. But if you look at Gabriel Jesus, who has 1 year left on his contract, to get 50 million pounds from that transaction, that is superb business. That's great negotiations. They're not getting pushed around, and we've seen it with Ferran Torres as well. To sell Ferran Torres for 60 million pounds and to go reinvest that in Julian Alvarez, City are actually making smart business decisions. Anyways, I could talk about Arsenal all day, so let's move on to Spurs. Again, Spurs are getting business done early in the transfer market. First Perisic, they got in Fraser, a goalkeeper on a free, and now Yves Bissouma. Yves Bissouma signing for Spurs for a reported 25 million euros. from Brighton, which is an incredible signing in my opinion. 24 years old, 25 years old. A perfect player to fit into Antonio Conte's system. He contributes on the defensive end. He's very combative. You know, a year ago, he finished 4th in all of Europe for tackles, for total tackles. In possession, he's not the most creative player. He's not the most forward thinking. He doesn't progress the ball a whole lot, but that's not what Conte really asks of his midfielders. What I also like about Bissouma is his ability on the ball. Now, he doesn't progress the ball a whole lot, like I said, but he can carry the ball forward. He's somewhat press resistant in that way, where he can skip by players. And with that being said, he's also a threat from distance. You know, he can strike the ball from outside the box. Now, sure, there's other midfielders who can do it better, but for me, Bissouma for 25 million pounds is a proper good signing for Spurs. Spurs are making their business happen early. It's such good business by Patrici. It's great business by Antonio Conte. They're changing the structure. They're getting business done early, and you have two of the best attackers in the whole Premier League in that side. And now you're strengthening their midfield. You're probably going to strengthen their back line. I wouldn't be surprised if Antonio Conte wins Tottenham some silverware this season. And that honestly pains me to say because I'm an Arsenal fan. But bias aside, the project is very promising from Spurs at the moment. Anyways, I want to wrap up with Manchester City. Cucurella apparently is edging closer to a move to Manchester City. Only 1 year spent at Brighton, but he showed his quality on both sides of the pitch. You know, defensively, he's sound, but also getting forward. You know, he can whip a ball in. But what I like about that link to City is at times we've seen him in Brighton where he can come centrally and play as almost like an inverted fullback, which we see from City quite a bit. They like to overload central areas. They like to have one of their fullbacks come central at times. For me, he's the exact kind of profile of a fullback that Pep wants in his system, and he'll slot into that system with ease, in my opinion. Now, if Cucurella does come into City, what does it mean for Zinchenko? Because Zinchenko has been linked to numerous clubs now across Europe. Originally, he was a midfielder, and City like to play, like I mentioned, like City do like to have their fullbacks come central at times and operate in midfield, and Zinchenko, naturally a central midfielder, was able to do so well. But with that being said, if he does leave City, I think most clubs will look at him as a central midfielder. For the national team for Ukraine, he's been playing very well. He's a leader for them, and he plays in midfield. You know, any club looking for a utility player who also plays at a high level. He's not just a player that fills in. Like, he can operate at a high level. Zinchenko would be a very good option. Anyways, let me know what you think about the transfer window thus far. Fabio Vieira, what a signing for Arsenal. I'm gassed, bro. I'm gassed. If you like the video, it would help me a lot if you do like the video. Subscribe to the channel. But yeah, like the video, share it with your friends. Let me know what you want me to talk about in the next episode. Anyways, peace out. Much love. Catch you in the next one.